What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of my F1 My Team career mode with Honda Racing for the Bahrain Grand Prix today. Thank you so much for the episode 1 support. It's really meant a lot, and if we can hit 80 likes on this, I will upload the Vietnam Grand Prix this evening. 2 uploads in one day. Let's go for it. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're new as well. And first race didn't actually go too badly. We managed to pick up P14 in that one. I've spoiled the result, but if you do want to check it out, then click the I button in the top corner. But we're going into this race with some sort of optimism, and we only actually have a little bit of time before Bahrain for some activities. And we're going to go for some aero team building. It's all about getting that department morale up. Maybe being an engineer myself means that I'm some sort of engineering sympathiser or something, but I looked at the sort of acclaim that we could get from doing the others, and it didn't really seem too good, so let's get that aero department happy and go for that. And moving on to the marketing side of things, we have got a new sponsor opportunity. After one race you unlock the opportunity to get a second sponsor if you do well enough. And after extensively looking at the weekly income, goal bonus and contract length, it was between a few. Novus Gedankenübertragung, my best German, getting that out there, and XXY. Now XXY, all we have to do is complete all the practice programs, which we're going to be doing anyway in order to get some resource points to make this team actually good. So I thought, you know what, that's a good one to go for. So we are going to sign with XXY. Obviously that means that the livery has got to change to suit the new sponsor, but not only that, we're also changing the colour of our livery. So you may have seen in episode 1 it was white. We're going to go for black because, as I mentioned in the first video, there's so many white cars at the back of the grid, so it made it quite difficult to distinguish. I think there was a couple of comments on it as well. I decided to go for black from episode 2 onwards, which I've got to say looks pretty mean. A little bit like obviously the Mercedes. But it goes really well with the red and the gold. So that means that our sponsors have got to change colour as well to white. And XXY, our new sponsor, also have a couple of slots on the car. Let me know down below if you like it, if you prefer the white one. But I love this black. Just to bring you up to date with the R&D progress, we've got upgrades in all departments coming at some point between the Bahrain Grand Prix and the Chinese Grand Prix, I believe. So in all 4 departments. And that should hopefully get us closer to that midfield pack. And finally, before we get out onto track, we make our first facility upgrade. And we're going to try and upgrade our fitness centre in the personnel section, which upgrades Matsushita's racecraft and awareness stats. We can't really afford a lot at the moment, so I think going for something like this will be good because it'll make our driver better, seeing as we can't afford to make our car much better at the moment. I thought that was a good choice. So of course the weekend started off with the practice programs, and once again we progressed with them reasonably well. Of course the track acclimatization, what we start the weekend off with, was pretty easy seeing as we know the track. The tyre wear test was a little bit difficult. Of course, Bahrain quite heavy on the tyre wear, especially if you get on the curbs too much, but still managed to get purple in that one. And then as soon as nighttime fell in practice 2, we made sure to get our race simulations in for the race strategy program. And once again, our race pace was looking really strong. Especially sort of in the middle and the final sectors, we were gaining a lot of time. Still some problems with traction, which of course we experienced in Australia, but on the whole looking really good and well under the target time which was set for us. Now the only thing which we struggled in once again was this qualifying program. Now I don't know whether it's this Honda engine which doesn't have sort of the party modes of some of the other engines, but you can see 0.6 of a second is a lot to be off our time. And I was left with a bit of head scratching with that one. So here we are then for the second qualifying session of the season. And of course we're starting off in Q1 because at this stage of the career mode, it's a big enough challenge just to get the car out of Q1. You saw on the performance chart earlier with still the second slowest team, and as you can see there, as we go out for our final run, we are currently the slowest car, which is not great and sort of ties in with our practice program for the qualifying pace. But we go into this final lap with some optimism. We've got a little bit of a slipstream off George Russell, who is just ahead, and we press that DRS button down this main straight here at Bahrain, hoping to use this upgraded Honda engine to the best of its abilities, braking now into turn 1. A big inside front lockup, and we get nowhere near clipping the apex, but we're still quicker than our first time, which shows you how bad our first attempt must have been. But yeah, I was just finding it so difficult into that first turn, braking now around the 100 metre board for turn 4, trying to get it turned in, and we go for a horrific corner cut. I apologise in advance for all the corner cutting that I do at that corner, but the game was letting me do it, so I thought, you know what, I'll go for it, and didn't think about the backlash which I'll probably receive on this video. But anyway, getting back into the lap, we're 0.7 of a second quicker than our previous best qualifying time, clipping that apex on the inside of turn 10 beautifully, and no lockup into there. Unfortunately, that's not really gained us any time, so yeah, it must have been pretty good there last time out as well. Now we go towards the start of the final sector, sweeping through turn 11 and 12. Car looking reasonably stable there through 12. I was expecting it to be a bit more unstable, judging by what we were doing in practice there. But now into the final sector we go. Just one more braking zone to go. Under the Aramco boarding, we make the braking manoeuvre down into third gear momentarily before going up into the DRS zone to end the lap 0.7 of a second quicker than our previous best. And we are still the slowest car, so God only knows how far off the pace we would have been if we hadn't have improved. But there you can see 1.9 off the pole time, 0.2 off the Williams cars of Latifi and Russell, and over 0.3 slower than our teammate Nobuharu Matsushita in 18th place. So yeah, it was almost back to the drawing board, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity, finishing qualifying in last, to replace some power unit components, because obviously we get grid penalties for that. Grid penalties don't matter because we're going to be starting from the back anyway. So I completely overhauled our entire power unit, took a new ICE, MGUK, MGUH, energy store, turbocharger, control electronics, and even a new gearbox as well for the race. Because we're going to have to replace them at some point this season, I thought, so why not do it now?
We're here again then at a circuit famous for its stunning visuals and thrilling battles for glory. Who will take the spotlight in the Bahrain Grand Prix today? Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1. So how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
Well, the throttle goes both ways, Crofty. You've got to have the discipline not to try and win the race on the first lap. So always be prepared to lift early and give those around you more space. Trying to be the last of the late breakers with half a dozen cars around you may pay off from time to time, but it's also a great way to lose your front wing.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Norris, Ocon, Perez, Stroll, and Daniel Ricciardo. Raikkonen, Bottas, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Magnussen, Gasly, Grosjean, Carlos Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Nobuharu Matsushita, Latifi, Russell, Buchan, and Daniel Kvyat completes the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So on to the formation lap we go then, and it is a Ferrari 1-2 up at the front due to Valtteri Bottas taking a 10th place grid penalty. So he is way back in the midfield, and yeah, strange to see so many cars taking penalties this early in the season. There you can see our teammate Nobuharu Matsushita quite a few positions ahead of ourselves. And this would be a brilliant time, if you haven't already, to drop a like on the video. Let me know how hyped you are for this Bahrain Grand Prix. I can't wait to commentate it. And now we go to the 5 red lights here for the second race of this My Team career. And it's lights out and away we go. Not a brilliant start from ourselves. We go up into overtake ERS mode once the wheel spin has stopped, and we're going to go to the outside here. It looks quite cluttered on the inside, and that has worked out really, really well, but there is just such a jam going on here. It's been an awful start from Valtteri Bottas, who started down in 12th, and it's got even worse for him. But we just get a bit crowded out there in the first corner, so I can see maybe why nobody else took our line. We only managed to get to P20, but now we throw it down the inside of one of the Williams cars, and we are going to be 3 wide now going into this middle sector, ourselves a McLaren and a Williams, and we somehow come out on top as Carlos Sainz has to yield. Daniel Kvyat also makes his way past those 2 cars, and that was heart in mouth moment on only lap 1 of this Grand Prix, but we're up to P18, and I think we can now call that a pretty decent start. I'm not sure which Williams car it was, but whoever it was has ended up losing out to Sainz and Kvyat and ourselves in that, so yeah, not too great for them, but for us it's eyes forward and ahead to Romain Grosjean, as we now skip onto the start of lap 2, and they are 3 abreast going into turn 1. Bottas, Grosjean and Magnussen, the 2 Haas cars fighting with each other. It's been an awful start for Valtteri Bottas, who's lost 5 positions, and he was starting low down as it was, and we're using our overtake because we're thinking surely not, surely we can't have a go at this Mercedes of Bottas, but it's looking like a realistic target as he's really, really struggling to negotiate both of the Haas cars, who always just look as if they're going to hit each other, both in real life and in the game. So fair play to Codemasters for replicating that. But yeah, we've got a nice little train forming now, which means that we can save a little bit of ERS and a little bit of fuel at this stage, and hopefully burn it later on when we have some opportunities to pass. It's only lap 2, so no DRS on this back straight, but you can see that we are keeping up with Bottas here. But we've got to be careful because Sainz and Kvyat aren't far behind, and we are only in P18 at the moment. But our teammate Matsushita must have made up a decent number of positions at the start as well, because he's not even in this little train, as Magnussen and Grosjean almost collide with each other, which means Bottas has to get out of the throttle, and don't mind if I do. We're using our overtake ERS. DRS isn't enabled on this straight, but we are going to be going 4 wide into turn 1. We're going to be on the inside, but there's a yellow flag into turn 1, so we can't make a move on Romain Grosjean, as there's a bit of front wing there by the looks of it, and it is Charles Leclerc parked up on the side of the road. The race winner from Australia is out of this Grand Prix, and we are up to P15 after overtaking Bottas and Magnussen, but we couldn't quite make a move on Grosjean, and that yellow flag means that it's sort of scuppered our plan of trying to get ahead of Grosjean, because we got out of the throttle quite a lot there into turn 1 just to make sure we didn't overtake him. But now 1 lap later, and unfortunately the fun looks as if it's over, because Bottas is coming back at us, and unsurprisingly with the DRS, a Mercedes which has won, what, 6 Constructors titles in a row against ourselves in a car which is brand new on the grid. It's not really much competition, to be honest, so I'm happy enough that we managed to at least fight with Bottas for a little while. I'll take it possibly for the thumbnail, but back to normal we go. We've been passed, and we got a hell of a lot of wheel spin off the exit of turn 4. Yeah, at this point, obviously, these are my early laps on the game still. I'd only recorded Australia and then this, so still getting used to the handling model. But meanwhile, our teammate Matsushita is doing brilliantly, and he's about to overtake Esteban Ocon up ahead. I think he's fighting for about 13th position, I believe. Maybe 14th. He is 3 positions ahead of us, nonetheless, or 4 positions in fact. So he is doing a stellar job, and now he's closing up to the 2nd AlphaTauri of Pierre Gasly. Yeah, showing that this car does have some sort of pace, and yeah, really, really good. So P12 he is, in fact, which is brilliant for the team, and I'd love to be up there to try and fight him before too long. But as we go on to the start of lap 5, you can see the 3 cars just behind Matsushita fighting with each other, and Esteban Ocon looks as if he's really, really struggling at this stage. So I think he was the man that was holding them all up. He may have some sort of issue in his car, because we are closing at a rapid rate here on the penultimate straight. But as we go through turns 14 and 15 now, we're surely going to have a great look at Ocon into turn 1. We activate the DRS as Carlos Sainz dives into the pit lane, so we may have been caught napping there. But still, we make our way past Esteban Ocon, and we've got a little bit of free air up ahead until we hit the Haas car of Romain Grosjean. So up to P14 now, but yeah, a couple of cars in the pit lane. So yeah, we're just going to have to put the throttle down on this in-lap and see whether we can catch up to those cars ahead. Now we go through the final corner. We've lost a little bit of time, in fact, to Grosjean. So yeah, these tyres really not feeling nice at this stage of the Grand Prix. Maybe pushing it a little bit too hard when we were battling with the likes of Ocon and the Bottas in that first stint. Now our pit crew did a brilliant job in the first Grand Prix. They gave us a 1.9 second pit stop. We need a good one here if we're to get out ahead of Carlos Sainz. What's it going to be this time? It's a 2.4. Still not bad, but obviously nowhere near as good as that first race of the season. We were fighting Sainz on the pit exit last time. Well, we would be doing the same this time, but we are quite a way behind him by the looks of it, and the undercut has really helped Carlos, as well as the fact that he's in a McLaren, which is yeah, quite a bit quicker on raw pace compared to us. Now we've got a few more drivers coming in for their pit stops, and the order has been reshuffled and is back to what it was originally. Fortunately, we're out ahead of Ocon, but we've ended up losing a position to Sainz, which means that we are in P16, with our teammate Matsushita also losing out in the pit phase, as he is only in 14th position. But yeah, he's 3.5 seconds up the road, so fair play to Matsushita. He's done a really good job in this race. And as we go on to lap 9 now, it looks as if we've got another retirement. This time it's Daniel Kvyat, who was in a little train behind ourselves, and that means that he's out of the session. The VSC has been triggered just as Esteban Ocon was looking to make a move on us. Now he looks as if he's sort of solved whatever issue he was having with the car. And I believe Daniel Ricciardo is running way up the order. So, yeah, the Renault car has got a lot more pace than ourselves this weekend. And now we're going to have to be really, really careful when this VSC ends, that we don't get overtaken by Ocon. There you can see VSC ending. We're losing quite a bit compared to the Delta, which means Ocon is going to be right on our tail. We're going to ride on board with the Frenchman here just to see how much pace he has on the run through turn 2, 3 and up towards 4. He's got a great exit using overtake ERS, and well, we are no match for him. He's got the DRS on us as well. And this is turning into a bit of a painstaking afternoon in Bahrain. The AI are always pretty strong around here, and when you're in a weak car, it is quite painful. So we're down to P17 with George Russell and Nicholas Latifi in the Williams car just behind us. Now, yeah, it's not brilliant. It's really not brilliant. Yeah, Matsushita 5 seconds up the road now, and we try and stay with Ocon for as long as possible. You can see depleting our fuel and ERS battery, but we're doing all we can to stick with Ocon, and still we can't get close enough to make any sort of counter-attacking move on him. And we're going to have to think about fuel conservation before too long, because there's only 2.5 laps left in this Grand Prix, and sure enough, we had to do just that, and ended up losing quite a lot of time to Esteban Ocon. So we now move on to the final lap of this Grand Prix, and we have got the Williams of George Russell attacking us. This is not good whatsoever, and he's going to go around the outside of us by the looks of it into turn 1. We're going to try and go side by side with him, as we really are side by side through the first couple of corners, but Russell bails on it on the inside. It's given us a warning for a collision, but I think that was fair enough. It was a good little wheel-to-wheel racing there. Unfortunately, we are doing it with the slowest car on the grid. Now, it's important to note that the Williams car is still the Rocket livery, because I've played this before the patch. if you play the game now, it will be the actual Williams livery, so just thought I'd note that. But we did fortunately manage to stay ahead of the Williams cars, and Kevin Magnussen actually managed to make his way ahead of him on that final corner. But we come across the line for quite a disappointing race here in Bahrain. 16th and 17th for the two Mugen-Honda cars. And yeah, it could have been better, as Antonio Giovinazzi is given driver of the day.
And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Here come our winners now. A thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again.
Well, just like in real life, Lando Norris is on the podium. So a Mercedes, Ferrari and a McLaren, exactly the same as the real-life Austrian Grand Prix, which is interesting. But Lewis Hamilton was the man that came second behind Sebastian Vettel, so not quite the podium order which we saw on Sunday. Alex Albon, there you can see ahead of his teammate Max Verstappen with Giovinazzi, a brilliant race from 13th up to 6th. Would have been interesting to see his on board for this race. And Valtteri Bottas only managing to get 1 point for Mercedes. Going now further down the order, you can see that Matsushita he ended up 15th, not 16th, as I said previously, ahead of Esteban Ocon. And he was just playing faster than us. So, yeah, we've got a bit of work to do. But we did manage to finish ahead of the two Williams and one of the Haas's. So not all terrible, it has to be said. There you can see the driver's standings currently. So Vettel just ahead of Hamilton with Leclerc in 3rd and Lando Norris there in 4th position after his podium today. A long way ahead of his teammates, who is still yet to get off the mark. Ferrari leading the way in the constructors' standings. We are down to 10th after AlphaTauri's good finish with Pierre Gasly, but they still didn't manage to make it into the points. Yeah, points seem a long way off at the moment. We've just got to keep working, as now we're talking to the press after quite a disappointing race, but still we ended up making positions on our starting position. So yeah, it's not all bad. But yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy today's video. As yeah, we're just trying to talk up our team at the moment in this press conference, because we want morale as high as possible so that they're going to build us a decent car. You know, there's no point in slating them and saying, no, the car is horrific at the moment. So, yeah, just got to remain as positive as possible. And, yeah, we go finally on to our team acclaim and the cash that we've earned for this weekend. Even though we didn't complete the qualifying pace program, it's still given us the cash for the bonus because we did actually try it. But yeah, that is it for episode number 2, guys, of this F1 My Team career. Remember, hit a like. If we get to 80, I'll release Vietnam tonight. But yeah, do take care, guys. Thank you very much for being with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.